Imagine a country with an arsenal of nuclear bombs where the elected prime minister is in jail and the generals who have taken power are beholden to Islamic radicals who revere Osama bin Laden and hate the United States.
You know that the U.S. State Department considers you to be a terrorist.
Yes, I know the Americans have declared me a terrorist.
Do you support Pakistan's nuclear weapons program?
Yes, of course. God has ordered us to make nuclear weapons.
Captain Rand Harrow, who has been flying jets for major commercial airlines for the past 20 years, says he and many pilots are often so tired they're not mentally fit to be in the cockpit. Have you ever fallen asleep in the cockpit?
Involuntarily, yes.
What's it like when you wake up from one of those?
It's quite frightening.
Like the time Captain Harrow says he fell asleep at the controls while on approach to a major U.S. airport with a plane full of passengers.
Say your town needs a road or a bridge or anything for that matter that can be built with federal funds. The man who can make it happen is Representative Bud Shuster of Pennsylvania. Well, not exactly. The man who can make it happen is a woman, Ann Eppert, who's not only Bud Shuster's chief fundraiser, she's also a lobbyist.
Essentially, you put some money into Ann Eppert's bank account, and out comes a provision in a Bud Shuster bill.
This kind of conduct is viewed as legal only on Capitol Hill. I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Morley Safer.
I'm Ed Bradley.
I'm Steve Croft.
I'm Leslie Stahl. Those stories and Andy Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes.
The turmoil in the Middle East this past week has demonstrated once again that peace is a fragile commodity and that terrorism is still a threat to U.S. security. But the Middle East is not the only place that bears watching. Imagine a country with nuclear weapons where the elected prime minister is in jail and the generals who seize power are beholden to Islamic radicals who revere the terrorist Osama bin Laden. The country is Pakistan, now competing for the title of America's worst nightmare. Currently engaged in a nuclear standoff with its next-door neighbor India, Pakistan is nearly bankrupt and sliding into anarchy. There is no other country in the world where 100,000 well-armed militant fundamentalists could end up controlling nuclear weapons, what some people call the Islamic bomb. Pakistan was created just over 50 years ago as an Islamic state, a haven for India's Muslims who wanted self-rule. Today, the country is coming apart at the seams. Pakistan is dead broke, its treasury looted by previous governments, its economy drained by institutional corruption. Only about 1% of the people here pay any taxes, and those who do pay taxes are not the richest people in the country. To make matters worse, the political and business elite has borrowed billions of dollars from Pakistani banks with no intention of ever repaying the loan. There are 140 million people, more than half of them illiterate, with no access to clean water. But for such a poor country, it has very sophisticated weapons, many supplied by the United States, at least until Pakistan tested its first nuclear bomb and the U.S. cut off all aid. Just a few miles down the road from the capital of Islamabad, there is a stark warning to foreigners that they will be thrown into jail if they approach a secret installation called Kahuta, part of Pakistan's nuclear weapons complex.
If you know where to look, you can basically see the fence line.
But with the latest satellite imagery, John Pike, from a group called the Federation of American Scientists, has been able to analyze Pakistan's weapons program from his computer in Washington.
What is this right here?
This is the plutonium production reactor at Kushab, which was constructed with Chinese assistance.
Pakistan claims it built the bomb in self-defense to keep the Indian Army from invading its borders. John Pike says the country's nuclear program is much further along than Washington has publicly acknowledged.
In addition to building uranium bombs within the last few years, they've also gotten into the long-range ballistic missile business.
The missile technology reaching every major city in India.
How many bombs do you think they have?
It's difficult to say how many bombs Pakistan currently has.
The man in charge of those weapons is Pakistan's new chief executive, General Pervez Musharraf, who took over the country last October in a military coup.
You're proud of your nuclear weapons?
I am, certainly, for Pakistan's sake.
Under what circumstances would you use them?
I would never like to use them, first of all. But if you've asked me a direct question, when would I use them? I think if Pakistan's security gets jeopardized, then only one would like to think of it.
How secure are those nuclear weapons?
Very secure. The National Command Authority is in place, and they are extremely secure. This is my guarantee.
The weapons may be secure, but Pakistan